He mentored our next inductee during his time as a Scarlet Flyer athlete and was a longtime coach here at NHS, inducted into the Neptune Athletic Hall of Fame in 2012. I would like to welcome to the stage Coach Joe Bongiovanni.
I've been to every Hall of Fame induction ceremony since the program was started. I was a founding member of the committee, and it really does my heart good to get up here and listen to all the athletes that come up here and talk about what it meant to them to be an athlete here at Neptune High School. And it also breaks my heart to see what's happening in some of the high school sports. I think participation is probably at an all-time low right now, right, Mr. Arno? And I don't understand, well, I kind of understand why, but I think it's a real shame because participating in athletics at Neptune High School was one of the best things that ever happened to me. It made me the person that I am today. You should walk down that Hall of Fame and look at all the plaques and see how many of those people up there went to Neptune, came back here, and taught and coached at Neptune because they loved Neptune. And now I see kids that want to transfer to another school to be on a winning team instead of staying here and making Neptune a winning team. It's a real shame. Because when you go, and I coached here for a long time, and I also coached for several years in another district, and won championships there. But it didn't mean the same thing to me as winning here at Neptune, because this is where I grew up. This is where my roots were. I never felt a part of that community, even though they welcomed me there. I never felt a part of that community like I did here at Neptune. Just playing athletics is a real honor. You can have a lot of memories going through life, and I know I'm not speaking to the correct audience here. It should be the freshmen or the elementary school kids in town, because a lot of you were athletes here. You know what I'm talking about. But you miss an awful lot if you don't get involved in your school. The memories that you have for the rest of your life, a lot of them are going to center around your high school years, because you had a lot of fun during that time. But the friendships I made, the camaraderie you have with, that you had with your teammates last forever. Made lifetime friendships. And you always think about those people, and again, when you see them, again, it's like welcoming family. And like I said, I look around here tonight and see all the people that are here that, again, are not, in the Hall of Fame, that have come back here to coach and teach because they love it. And I really think the kids in town need to get that message. And again, I'm not talking to the right audience, but you people can get out there and spread that kind of word to the township, that people need to stay here, stay where your roots are. This is where they are, this is where you belong. And make Neptune that winning team. Now, I talked to some of the coaches here, and they're telling me, well, if we had this kid here and we had this kid here, he's playing here, he's a Division I athlete playing there, we'd be great. Well, that was always the situation. I'll put Neptune's record for people that have gone to college to play sports and have gone to the major leagues, say Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NFL. We can go toe-to-toe with any school in Monmouth or Ocean County, the number of players that we've had go on and do those types of things. And the same thing with those that have gone on and come back here and become successful coaches. So the word needs to get out to the community that you need to stay here and keep Neptune great. Make Neptune, what it should be. You grew up here. Your parents grew up here. I'm about to induct the 4th Ramsey into the Athletic Hall of Fame. 4 Ramseys. And that's amazing that one family can have that many people to this date, in the Hall of Fame. And if you all think about the teams that you played on and your neighbors and all, the kids that came through here that had athletic families, the kids were all good. They all came through here. And they all wanted to play where their brothers and sisters played. So the community needs to get that message out here. You know, the old song, be true to your school. You know, that needs to happen. Not just here, but all around. As far as Daryn is concerned, he's part of a dying breed. He was a 3-letter man. You don't see a lot of that anymore. Everybody wants to specialize. Well, if I play this sport all year long, I'll really be good. And for some, that may be true. But I think the diversity of playing 2 or 3 sports really helps you out. I was a 2-sport athlete. When I was young, I was a fat kid. Wasn't a great athlete. When I got to high school, I went out for football, and I was fortunate to have a great coach, John Bednarik. And then I went out for wrestling, and had a great coach in Harry Schaefer. And they not only taught me how to win, but they taught me how to learn from losing. You know? And they told me that losing wasn't all that bad. As long as you learn from your mistakes, and you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of that sport and say, I gave 100%. That's all you can ask of anybody. And that's all I ever ask of my athletes. Give me 100%. And we'll go out and we'll give it our best effort. And if we come out on the short end of the stick, that's fine. You did your best. And that's what I think about when I was thinking about what I was going to say about Daryn here. What I remember about Daryn is I don't ever remember yelling at him for anything. Being late to practice, missing practice, not hustling at practice, not being where he was supposed to be or doing what he was supposed to do. He was always where he was supposed to be, doing what he was supposed to do. And I'm not going to read this list of his accomplishments. You can look in the program and see what he did. There's a lot of accolades in there, a lot of awards that he won. And he didn't play on a great team that year. His senior year wasn't one of our better seasons. But he stood out. Never complained, never whined, never blamed anybody else. Just went out there every day and did what he had to do. And unfortunately, back then, in football, it was pretty much a running sport. They didn't throw a lot of passes. Nobody did. You know, had he played in this age with the offenses we have now, he'd had a lot more accolades and gone a lot further in some of these awards that he had. Instead of making second team, he'd have been a first team guy in those because he said we just didn't take advantage of the talent that he had as an athlete. Not only was he fast, but like I said, he was a smart athlete. He said he always was where he was supposed to be. He ran back punts and kicks, which, you know, it sounds like a great thing, but after the first time you get hit, when you're running full speed and somebody a little bigger than you hits you running full speed the other way, it's not so glamorous anymore. Okay? And to get out and do that every game on punts and kickoffs. Daryn never came off the field. And again, that's something you don't see anymore. We see an offensive specialist or a defensive specialist or a kicker, or he's only a receiver, or he's only a defensive lineman. You know, a real team player, like I said, does whatever you ask him to do, and that's what Daryn did. Whatever we asked him to do, he did. Never came off the field. And an old saying that, you know, athletics builds character, that's not true. It takes character to be an athlete. You've got it. If you don't have that, you're nothing. And like I said, those guys with the character that were willing to give themselves and unselfishly, like I said, I'm sure he was tired and his butt was dragging at the end of those games and at the end of practices. But I never heard a complaint, never heard a whisper from him of anything negative. It was always positive. With me, with the other coaches, and with the other players on his team. And again, that's a tribute to his character. And like I said, athletics made me what I am today. And I think it helped him along the way too. And I think everyone who was an athlete can attribute their time that they spent as an athlete with the successes that they've had in life and the way they've handled life. Like I said, Daryn led by example. A lot of times we have team captains who are the rah-rah guys, running around, yelling and screaming, patting guys on the back. And that's one way to lead. But in my eyes, the best way to lead is to lead by example. I never asked anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do. And that's something that that's the way Daryn was. He was always there, always ready to go, always ready to give 100%. Now please welcome Daryn Ramsey, our newest inductee.
Thank you for the introduction, Coach. Interesting fact about Coach B. He didn't only teach me the game of football, but he also taught me how to drive. He was my driver's education teacher. Didn't think I remember that, did you, Coach?
No.
Good evening. Good evening. It is truly a blessing to be back home in Neptune with so many familiar faces and so many memories. I give honor to God, the giver of the gifts that made it possible for me to be here, to the Neptune Athletic Hall of Fame Committee. Thank you for taking the time to consider me and my accomplishments and deeming me worthy for such an honor as this. To be welcomed and included with such a talented and gifted group of inductees is quite an honor. Congratulations to the class of 2023. I would like to thank my parents, the late Carl and Daryn Ramsey, who are also both graduates of Neptune High School, for their love and support and always providing me the resources to do what I love to do, and that was sports. Thank you, Gary, Brian, and Cheryl, for your support. My brothers and sister were great inspirations for me growing up. There were definitely times when I needed direction, guidance, and perspective. Thank you to my loving wife, Deb, who is a blessing to me. Thank you for always supporting me and for being here with me tonight to celebrate this special occasion. Deb is also a Neptune High School graduate, class of 1980. To my varsity football coach, Joe Bongiovanni, Coach B, thank you for really caring about me and our team past the X's and the O's. Your pregame speeches were highly motivational and not only prepared us for the game on the field, but your speeches were so transparent and impactful that they also prepared us for life. It is what I remember the most about you. Thank you to the late Coach Hank Nonnenberg for recognizing my gifts and giving me the opportunity to compete and earn a spot on the varsity as a freshman. Coach Caleb Morris, who is one of the kindest men I have ever had the privilege of knowing. He spent countless hours with me, the sprinters and hurdlers, well into the early evening, and gave 2 and 3 of us rides home when needed. Thank you, Coach Morris. Coach John Chambers went from being one of my idols to being my track coach in high school. Thank you, Coach Chambers, for the strength training and hard workouts that I didn't like back then, but that I definitely needed. Thank you, Coach Chambers. Can you all see what's happening here? These men are all legends. the legends at Neptune, on the shore, in New Jersey, and the nation. I am a direct beneficiary of their gifts, their dedication, and their credentials as athletes, coaches, educators, and men. It was certainly transferred to me. Thank you, Coach Russ Walling, who was my freshman track coach and 8th grade typing teacher that taught me how to type. It suddenly dawned on me as I prepared this speech that the words being typed were a result of me learning from you. To the late, great Coach Doug Hill and the Neptune Pop Warner organization, thank you so much for providing a safe outlet and for establishing and cultivating a family environment. Pop Warner was my foundation. So I just want to take a trip down memory lane, if you don't mind. I'll be brief. I grew up down the hill in Whitesville in the Neptune Gardens, as Dwayne was speaking on earlier. And when I was 8 years old, our family moved up the hill. Two people come to mind when I think of great friends who were also great athletes that could match or exceed my athletic ability. Down the hill was Kevin Mobley, and up the hill was Gerard Taylor. We would compete in everything: football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, ping pong, pool, dodgeball. We would always challenge each other to see who could run the fastest, jump the highest, or the furthest. I'll tell you, we did all of that. No doubt, Kevin and Gerard made me better. I started running track at 8 or 9 years old in the age group meets at various locations around the state. I can remember the track meets and the anxiety that I had watching both of my big brothers, Brian and Gary, as they prepared for their races. This is the history that I wanted to be a part of. Coach Giovanni talked about it, Coach DeSarno talked about it, Brian talked about it. I wanted to be a part of that. I heard stories about the legendary Ricky Hopkins, Larry Bunting, my uncles Nate and Conley Ramsey, and my dad Carl Ramsey. I remember watching the great Rob Morton and Bart Cook from the class of '75. And to later get to know them and become friends with them has been nothing short of a blessing. I remember up the hill, we created the neighborhood Olympics. Like Brian said, we used sawhorses for hurdles. Once around the block was considered the half mile. In the street, we counted telephone poles to determine 100 meters. And we even built our own high jump pit using plywood, 2x4s, bamboo poles, nails, and beanbag seating to land on. I'm gonna tell you, those were the days. I looked up to the 1979 National Shuttle Hurdle Record Team that are all here tonight. The Thanksgiving football games against Asbury were epic. They were especially memorable and always felt like championships. I always look forward to the track meets and the bus rides to and from Princeton University for the big state meets. Lots of fun, man, I'll tell you. I miss those days. You know, there are so many memories that I have of my track and football career here at Neptune. Those memories I hold close to my heart. I will cherish them for the rest of my life. There are so many people that have been instrumental in my life that I did not have time to mention. I will always be a Neptune guy, a Scarlet Flyer forever. Again, thank you so much to everyone who has supported me or helped me over the years. I am grateful. Once again, thank you, God, for keeping me to take part in this day. God bless.